Nokia has failed to incite strong sales, particularly for its flagship phones. People have cried out saying if they offered Android devices, that perhaps this situation could have been improved. True as it may be, the real issue I think stems from lackluster designs and mediocre specs. Two things that will drive a brand into the ground when everyone around is blowing the market apart with huge diversity. A lacking app store is crippling, but why did my time with the Lumia 925 seem not so damning? Let me tell you. The Lumia 920 was the device people had hoped would revamp the love affair with Nokia and Windows Phone. Sadly, the device was a brick, the same as its predecessor, and did very little to attract my interest. The 925, on the other hand, is the evolution of a familiar design, just a generation too late. Across the board, dimensions have been tightened, but the big points are trimming down to 8.5mm thick and dropping a mess of weight down to just 139 grams. This is a big deal. The Lumia 920 felt like a weapon in hand and in pocket. The 925 is a sleek, attractive and elegant phone, but could still wield some harm because it's protected with aluminium edges. Thank God, I love aluminium in phone designs. It is far classier than the candy shell designs Nokia has been known for and provides a fitting quality to the flagship price tags. The sides of the 925 are largely smooth and vacant. However, the top edge is cramped full of inputs with the SIM card tray, micro USB charging port, audio jack and microphone. The right hand side has the two-step shutter button at the base, unlock button positioned well at the center and the volume rocker towards the top. The buttons work with high fidelity, are easily located and contrast well from the smooth design. The shape seems immensely boxy with sharp contours at the phone's edges, but subtle curves and cohesive textures make this a nice fitting device. Even the Gorilla Glass 2 paint on the front has been sculpted to round into the edges. It's deep, dark and simple. The standard Windows Phone capacitive buttons hug the bottom, and thankfully this time around, the panel is more centrally located, making use in landscape more comfortable. The rear panel is a contrasting matte polycarbonate that isn't removable, although on first look the definite seam surrounding it makes me wish it was, so the device could have featured expandable storage or a removable battery option. But it melds well enough with the aluminium sides. I won't discredit its use as it trimmed thickness and weight and ultimately felt fitting enough with the durable aluminium edges. The loudspeaker is situated at the bottom, and thoughtfully Nokia placed small knobs next to it to sit the panel off the ground when lying flat to keep the audio clear. Above it is contacts for the wireless charging cover, which is not built into this device like it was with the 920. Unfortunately, the design couldn't be nice and flush and bulges slightly to the camera with dual LED flash above. Mind you, I will take superior optics to a perfectly slim design any day. It's always hard to stand here and compare a Windows Phone specs directly to an Android or Apple device because the optimization of the Windows Phone OS for seemingly lower end specs is superb. It runs very well, much smoother than you'd come to expect from a familiar spec'd Android device. I can't say I notice any issues with lagging or jitteriness, which sells an experience for me. The Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 dual-core 1.5GHz CPU and 1GB of RAM move the device along well. I will say load time suffered occasionally and felt slower than when I was using other flagship devices, but not a crippling issue. I would have liked 2GB of RAM and a more powerful dual-core CPU at least to stand it apart from its predecessor. This would also open a great potential to make an appealing Google Play edition. Not a bad way to give people OS choice without going and creating dedicated Android handsets. The Adreno 225 GPU does enough to help gaming along. I can't say it felt like it was struggling greatly, but there is a distinct lack of high-end games that take my fancy anyway to really push it. Depending on the variant available, most come with 16GB of internal storage and some will have 32GB. They also come with NFC, Bluetooth 3.0 and all the standard sensors and a 2000 mAh battery. It lasted me well on daily use. I could get away without charging it till midway through the next day under fairly moderate usage. This particular model lacked LTE unfortunately, but the quality of calls was top notch. It didn't always manage to grab the strongest signal available in that area, but when it did, HSDPA Plus provides very reasonable speeds in reality, and LTE will be available in many variants. The Lumia 925 left IPS LCD at the door and went with the AMOLED persuasion. The display is gorgeous at 4.5 inches with Nokia's clear black technology making contrast even better. And with a resolution of 1280 by 768 pixels, it sure isn't over the 400 ppi pixel density like many other flagships, but heck, you won't notice any problems. What I adored most, the viewing angles trounced the likes of the HTC One and Xperia Z. The Windows Phone OS is all about contrast, bold colors, and text. This panel nailed the brief. The accuracy of touch was perfect. I felt pro again after having used some not so accurate panels lately. To top it off, if the AMOLED color scheme isn't to taste, change it up. The settings give you ultimate control this time. I never hated Windows Phone 8, but perhaps I never gave it due respect in the past. The Lumia 925 has been my daily driver for 2 weeks now. I've made it my own and delved deeper than before. This time around, I feel far less limited. What I like to do on my Android and Apple devices, I'm still doing on the Windows Phone platform. It may not be the tidiest approach or the most streamlined at times, but the job gets done. The textural layout and stylization of the OS coupled with the high contrast, blocky, bold colors has now become routine, and I feel like maybe I'll miss Windows Phone 8 a little when it's gone. Mind you, the App Store is still lacking, and many of my frequently used apps are being replaced by web apps, and in customization you tend to lose a little bit of control, but for a lot of people, they aren't interested in manipulating everything. The homepage scrolls vertically and is laced with live tiles of 3 differing dimensions. Organising the page to fit personal taste and use is extremely easy, and the live tiles bridge a nice gap between simple app icons when left small and dynamically updating to display notifications and additional information like a widget. The updating is a little slow on quick glance, so you don't get the detail you're really after about notifications, and this is where a quick notification center is key to the success of the Windows Phone platform in the future. The color theme is amendable but taxing at times when you get a slew of app icons that don't adopt a unique design and opt for the color theme color, giving a big boring mess. The app drawer is off to the right, and it's an alphabetical list of installed applications, very plain, mundane, but usable. The multitasking is handled by keeping the previous 8 applications active and accessible by holding down the back button. The back button itself is very versatile and imperative to efficient use of the Windows Phone 8 OS. Preloaded is a mobile version of Office. This helps bridge the divide between mobile and a PC, enough for those who can't afford to slow down. I liked it to edit documents, not create them, but the option is there, of course. The thing with Windows Phone is that it's best supported by Nokia, who have invested a lot by adopting the OS, so included Nokia built applications on the Lumia 925 beats the competition. The real winners here are Here City Lens, an augmented reality locations app, and Here Drive and Maps. As a mapping and GPS service, it rivals the best board options for this platform. I was suitably impressed by media playback on the Lumia 925. Videos are easily sent across, audio quality from the rear speaker was pretty decent. My only criticism is that with music playback, switching between tracks from the lock screen was annoying because the control panel would only appear for a few seconds and then disappear and only come back on when you turn the screen on and off again. The obvious high point of the Lumia devices is supposed to be the camera. The 925 steps it up slightly with an 8.7 megapixel pure view f2.0 26mm camera with 4x digital zoom, 8cm minimum focus, dual LED flash, and a true 16:9 1/3 inch sensor. This camera comes with Carl Zeiss optics and a 6th Tessar lens. In use, images were very sharp, accurate, and fast. Functionality of the camera app is simple and aided by the 2-stage shutter button. The photos I wouldn't say blew my mind and stand apart from other flagships, but video definitely did. On playback, the detail and exposure was incredible. It captured so well the footage as you saw it, and I could have easily enjoyed creating incredible videos with it, especially manipulating the depth of field to draw on particular points of focus. The big inclusion from Nokia, it's called Smart Cam. It takes the camera UI and records a burst of shots in a few seconds. This then enables the user to create some really cool image effects and puts everything in the one place, which was a criticism of mine for the OS, where particularly with the camera app, recording and editing feels very detached, and if you want different image effects, you need to install additional apps just to do it. Smart Cam is a winner. I used it regularly, enjoyed my creations, and think it should be interlaced into the OS permanently. But this is where you will see the phone stagger slightly, trying to handle the task of all those different effects, and where I wished for more powerful specs. The Lumia 925 also comes with a front-facing f2.4 1.2 megapixel camera. So, is this Lumia worth buying? If you're torn whether or not to pay the extra money and get this unit over the Lumia 920, which has most of the same specs, hands down, I would go the 925. Design-wise and in-hand hold, there is no comparison. The Lumia 925 is a sexy phone. The Lumia 920 is a big, bold brick. The aluminium sides make it feel very sleek, and the camera is a companion for sure. The Windows Phone 8 OS is under-supported by comparison to iOS and Android, but I found ways around the lack of apps and am now more confident that it has potential to be more successful. Nokia really just needs to be doing more to create front-running devices that push the technological boundaries and just keep offering up those excellent in-house inclusions. But the 925 isn't perfect, at least in my case. This unit crashed and stalled with a blank screen 3 times, and I was forced to hard restart the device on all instances. Not a good sign for a 2-week-old phone, but check it out at mobicity.com by following the link in the description and see what you think for price, or check out the rest of their amazing range. I'm Kurt, and this is KABOOtech. Catch you next time.